What happens when an unstoppable force meets an invisible, omnipresent empire? How does one individual, driven by something so personal, even start to fight back against something that vast? Today we're diving headfirst into the extraordinary story of Mack Bolan. You probably know him better as the Executioner. And this isn't just vigilantism, it's a full-on personal war against the Mafia. We're focusing specifically on his brutal campaign against their big Caribbean carousel operation.
Right. And our mission here for this deep dive is basically to pull out the key insights from the sources we've got. We'll look at Bolan's background, which is pretty surprising in itself, his tactics as they evolve, the really complex web of enemies he's up against, and just how high the stakes are in this relentless campaign.
Exactly. We've gathered these really thrilling narrative accounts for you that give you a shortcut, a real visceral feel for this one-man war.
By the end, you should have a solid grasp of this very unusual conflict, and importantly, a picture of how one guy tries to take down a global syndicate.
Yeah, and trust me, these sources, they don't hold back. You really feel the grit, the intensity of Bolan's world. Okay, so let's jump right in. The story actually kicks off, maybe surprisingly, not in the Caribbean sun, but way up in Pittsfield. That's in the eastern U.S.
Yeah, Pittsfield. And it starts with what looks like a standard underworld hit. An ambush execution, 5 gangland figures taken out.
But it wasn't standard at all, was it?
Not even close. The physical evidence immediately pointed somewhere else. I mean, you had a supposedly burglarized sports shop, right? But enough cash was left behind to cover what was taken.
Which was specifically?
A Marlin .444 big game rifle and a deluxe scope. Then you have a watchman at a quarry who saw a tall young guy sighting in that exact type of rifle. So, it's clearly not your average mob hit.
Definitely raises the question, who was behind this?
Yeah.
So surgical, so different.
And the answer was pretty terrifying when it came out. Sergeant Mack Bolan, on emergency furlough from Vietnam.
So he was home to bury his family.
That's right. His parents, his teenage sister. Officially, it was ruled a suicide-homicide. But Bolan, well, he wasn't buying it. He was convinced the underworld was indirectly responsible.
And his background, that's crucial here, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely fundamental. His military police file from Saigon, it tags him as a penetration team specialist, sniper, sharpshooter rating with multiple weapons, 97 confirmed kills behind enemy lines.
Wow.
Yeah. His own CEO called him a formidable psychological warfare weapon. This guy wasn't just trained to kill. He was trained for, precision, infiltration, messing with the enemy's head.
But then there's this other side, the Sergeant Mercy nickname.
It's this fascinating contrast. The medics at base camp called him that, kind of quietly, because he'd come back from these deadly missions, but he'd often have refugees with him.
Like who?
The very old, the very young, the sick, the injured, people who couldn't help themselves. So you have this methodical killer, but also someone performing these humanitarian actions. It's a real duality.
How did he reconcile that?
Well, there's this insight from an Army psychologist who studied snipers. It's about the ability to compartmentalize, to draw a line between, quote, murder and duty, staying cool under pressure.
Okay.
In Bolan's own view, he saw himself as technically dead already. Victory wasn't about winning some grand prize. It was just living for one more day.
Which leads to his philosophy.
Exactly. There could be no personal victory for Mack Bolan. It wasn't about him, in a way. It was about the mission, the duty, as he saw it.
So after that initial Pittsfield strike,
he unleashed what the sources call a thunder and lightning blitz. Just hammered the Mafia presence there, wiped them out, essentially, for a while. Then he just vanished, faded away like the guerrilla expert he was. But he was really just getting started.
Because he surfaces again, right? In L.A.
He does, yeah. A little while later. And this time, initially, he's not alone. He's got a death squad. Some combat buddies from Vietnam.
Though he loses them eventually.
He does, yeah, in the fighting that follows. But that experience, it gave him a, quote, deeper understanding of his own situation. And crucially, he started to believe he actually could beat the mob at their own game.
So it shifts from just revenge to, like, a strategic campaign.
Precisely. And his tactics evolve dramatically. He gets plastic surgery.
To hide.
Not to hide, to fight. An ex-army surgeon gives him a new face. Bolan calls it his battle mask.
A battle mask. What did it look like?
It gave him a definitely Sicilian appearance. The idea was he could blend in, move among them, even get close to the leadership, sit at their councils.
Wow, that's bold.
Incredibly bold. He even romances a capo's daughter. He starts using their own suspicion, their mistrust against them, playing their game, but way outside their rules.
And this strategy leads somewhere big.
Oh, yeah. It leads to Miami Beach, the big Mafia families, La Cosa Nostra, they gather for a summit. The main topic, Mack Bolan. This guy is becoming a serious problem.
He wasn't invited, I assume.
Definitely not invited. But he crashed the party anyway and turned it into, well, a mafia disaster on a scale never before experienced.
How?
The sources point to his uncanny sense of timing. He just knew how to hit them where it hurt when it hurt most. He was proving to be something they just couldn't handle, couldn't predict.
So after shaking things up in Miami, where does he go?
Well, first, he leaves Las Vegas, another story, but he leaves with, let's see, about $250,000 of the mob's own skim money.
Nice.
Yeah, plus one of their helicopters, a pilot named Grimaldi, and even an accountant. Then he takes this devious route straight to Puerto Rico.
A Caribbean. This is the springboard for the next phase.
Exactly. The Caribbean carousel. That's the next big target.
What exactly was the Caribbean carousel?
Well, the sources describe it as basically Las Vegas all over again, a new scene of intense activity for the international syndicate. It's where the, quote, bucks flowed freely.
So a new playground for them.
Yeah. A new place for their leeching tentacles to squeeze, gouge, claw, manipulate, and control. It shows you how they operate, find fertile ground, replicate the profitable model, expand.
So Bolan heads straight for their center of operations in Puerto Rico.
Yep, a place called Glass Bay, described as their hard site. He knew it was a trap waiting for him.
But he went anyway.
Of course. Just another calculated risk for Bolan. It's part of his whole approach.
And arriving there, what did he see?
This is where his observation skills really shine. From the seaplane, he takes it all in. Beautiful setting, right? Magnificently framed small bay, rambling plantation house, a man-made breakwater.
Looks idyllic.
On the surface, but he notices other things. All male-type people. No locals, basically. No females, no relaxed frivolity. And then the giveaways.
Weapons.
Telltale flashes from telescopic lenses, guys trying to hide weapons under beach towels. It was obvious. A set stage, he thought, but sloppily done. Probably set up in a hurry.
So he knows it's a trap. What does he do?
Something brilliant. He doesn't try to fly the plane out. He has the pilot, Grimaldi, preset those controls for a quick liftoff.
And then?
Then Bolan just slips over the side into the water, the calm Caribbean depths. The empty plane takes off and crashes right into the plantation house.
Chaos.
Total chaos, exploding flames, shrieking hubbub. And amidst all that, Bolan's exit from the plane goes completely unnoticed. Pure diversion.
Who was the target of this chaos, essentially? Who was waiting for him?
Well, the explosion immediately brings a big name onto the scene. Quick Tony Lavagni.
Quick Tony.
Yeah, a Kapoor regime, high-ranking captain, known as the terror of the Atlantic seaboard. And for him, seeing this fiery mess, it felt like re-entering an old and familiar nightmare.
It suspected Bolan wasn't in the plane.
Instantly. He knew Bolan or knew of him.
Let's talk about Lavagni. They had history.
Oh, yeah. Lavagni had damn near died during a previous run-in with Bolan back in France, one of Bolan's headhunting expeditions.
And now Lavagni's got ambitions.
Big time. He's trying to take over the top spot on the Atlantic seaboard, Ernie Farmer's vacant throne. So catching Bolan isn't just about survival for Lavagni. It's a career move. A horse race, winner take all.
So he's motivated.
And smart.
Very smart, tactically minded, described as operating like a meat grinder with radar control. He figures Bolan will head for the jungle, try to get wheels, make for San Juan. He reads the situation pretty well.
But Bolan anticipates Lavagni's move.
Always. Bolan knows Lavagni will try a pincers movement to trap him. But Bolan's goal isn't just to escape Glass Bay, it's to bust the Caribbean carousel.
So what's his first move in the jungle?
He strips down to his classic skin-tight black outfit, his trademark. Then he starts employing basic guerrilla maneuvers. Psychological warfare is key.
Yeah.
Jar the enemy. Keep them off balance.
How does he do that?
Well, his main tactic is to draw their searchline forward, make them spread out. Widen the spaces between the teeth of the grinder, as the source puts it. Then he can slip through.
And tactical. He finds Lavagni's radio operator and takes out the radio, disrupts their communication, takes away their coordination, their initiative. He's controlling the fight even while outnumbered.
And he needs transport, right, the wheels.
Right. He spots a jeep guarded by two low-level guys, plugmen. He creates a diversion, crashes a nearby VW, grabs a woman who was with them.
Hang on, grabs a woman.
Yeah, we'll get back to her. But the diversion works. He quickly takes out the two guards, grabs the jeep, even takes their clothes for a disguise.
And he seems pretty cool about it.
Almost disturbingly cool. There's a moment where he tells another mobster nearby, just casually, get laid. It underscores that detached, focused mindset, even in the middle of extreme violence.
Okay, back to the woman he grabbed. Who was she? This gets interesting, right?
It really does. He initially assumes she's just, the local whore in residence for the guy running Glass Bay, a nickel and dime hood named Vince Trieste.
But she wasn't.
Nope. She reveals herself as Evita Aguilar, and she's an agent with the Puerto Rican Justice Department, Organized Crime Division.
Wow. Okay. What was she doing there?
She had a cause, as she put it. She'd spent 3 months undercover cultivating Trieste, getting close to him to gather intel on the Mafia's operations there.
Even becoming his companion.
Yeah, Teresa's woman. And Bolan, interestingly, respects her for it. He gets that in this kind of war, conventional morality was often the greater of two evils. Her dedication mirrored his own, in a way.
And her mission tied into the bigger picture.
Directly. She explains the mob's goal to siphon money from Puerto Rico's Operation Bootstrap. That was this big economic development program that had been really successful, nearly doubling income.
So the mob saw new money and wanted a piece.
Exactly. They wanted to divert it into their own pockets. And Evita uses this phrase that sounds a lot like Bolan's own thinking. Sometimes we must fight the devil with the devil.
So she's law enforcement. He's technically a wanted criminal. How does that alliance work?
It's complicated. Officially, he's the bad guy. But unofficially, some people in her department, maybe even higher up, saw him as a necessary evil in what they called a life-or-death struggle with the Mafia octopus.
So they were willing to look the other way. Or even help.
Evita confirms there's a U.S. federal strike force on the island. Their initial orders were just to report if Bolan was killed or escaped, but she uses her own discretions, her judgment on the ground, to actively help him. She's basically acting as a kind of female executioner herself.
Blurring those lines again.
Constantly. So she points him away from police roadblocks, tells him she knows a place of safety. He knows who she is now. She knows who he is. He has to trust her.
Reluctantly.
Very reluctantly. But he feels like destiny, a wriggling finger of destiny, is pushing them together.
Okay, so Evita helps him, but Lavagni isn't done yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's another trap.
Oh, yeah. Lavagni is persistent. He finds out Bolan plans to escape by boat from a place called Puerto Vista. And he sets another trap, a really cruel one this time. He captures the pregnant wife of the guy helping Bolan, Juan. Her name's Rosalita.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Juan brings Bolan the message from Lavagni. They say they will feed her to the sharks unless Bolan surrenders.
That's brutal. Lavagni's really playing dirty.
He is. And his setup at Puerto Vista is much better than Glass Bay. He learned his lesson. 6 guns on his cruiser, heavy automatics, guys on the roof with shotguns, guys inside the warehouse, men along the wharf. He had time, he says, to set the thing up properly.
He thinks he's got Bolan cornered.
He does.
Yeah.
He knows Bolan has this people problem, as he calls it. Bolan couldn't walk away from a dame in trouble. Rosalita to Lavagni, she's just a tool. Leverage.
Hold. So how does Bolan respond? He can't just walk in.
No. He uses Juan again, sends a message back, tells Lavagni it's a Mexican standoff. Meaning Bolan would not fight while Rosalita is in the way of harm. Deadlock. But, crucially, he adds a threat. If Lavagni does hurt Rosalita, Bolan will get his revenge in his own way and at his own time.
Putting the pressure back on Lavagni.
Exactly. It forces Lavagni's hand. Lavagni can't use Rosalita as a shield if Bolan won't attack, and the threat of future revenge is real, given Bolan's reputation.
So Lavagni has to let her go.
He does. He releases Rosalita, but then he orders Juan onto Bolan's salvage boat, telling him he wants Bolan to come over and join him. He still thinks he can lure Bolan out.
But Bolan has another trick up his sleeve.
Always. He's disguised himself. Remember, he took those clothes back at the Jeep crash? He's wearing the local town constable's uniform, playing the part of a big dumb hick, as the source puts it.
So Lavagni doesn't even see him.
Doesn't recognize him. Lavagni is screaming, "Let's hear some thunder, Bolan!" And just then, this bundle of dynamite sticks arcs through the air and lands right on the cruiser's deck.
Hey, dirt.
Bingo. A shattering roar and exploding flames. That's the end of Quick Tony Lavagni. The source even gives him this final thought, thanking Bolan for everything he would never become. Kind of a strange, dark moment of clarity.
Wow. So Lavagni's gone. What happens to the pilot, Grimaldi?
Well, Bolan basically acquires him. Grimaldi wasn't exactly thrilled about working for the mob, and now he's sort of recruited. An unwilling partner, maybe, but now on Bolan's payroll.
And their next target.
The biggie, that's what Grimaldi calls him. The main target in the Caribbean.
And who is the biggie?
This is where it gets really interesting. It's a guy named Sir Edward Stewart. described as the #1 syndicate man in all of Kirbyland, the new Meyer Lansky of the Western world.
Sir Edward Stewart. Doesn't sound like a typical mob name.
Exactly. And he's untouchable. He operates out of Haiti, which Grimaldi calls a perfect sanctuary because of Stewart's influence with certain officials there. He's above the street-level stuff.
And Grimaldi gives Bolan the lowdown on this bigger picture.
He does. He explains this concept of the fourth power. It's fascinating. He says the good money always flows behind the blood money.
Meaning legitimate businesses get involved.
Yeah. So-called legit businessmen swarming toward the good thing. This fourth power isn't just the mafia, it's bigger. A world monopoly on organized crime, Grimaldi calls it. An entire fourth society united by one thing: greed.
That sounds huge.
Yeah.
And insidious.
It is. Grimaldi says this fourth power has invisibly welded themselves onto the throats of their societies. They've interlocked their tentacles into a new kind of politics, the politics of rape and robbery.
Who's involved in this?
Everyone. Corrupt governments, corporations, international financiers, even seemingly nice, respectable people right alongside the usual thugs. It's a network woven into the fabric of society.
And Sir Edward is leveraging the situation in Haiti.
Absolutely. Grimaldi paints a grim picture of Haiti under Papadoc Jr., Jean-Claude Duvalier. Rampant misery and poverty and repression, often inflicted by Haitians on other Haitians. Sir Edward thrives in that environment.
Doing what?
Everything from unofficial loans to big league drug operations, exploiting the chaos and desperation for massive profit.
How does Bolan react to hearing all this? This enemy is way bigger than just the mafia families.
His response is pure Bolan. He tells Grimaldi, "I'm not here to cure, just to kill." He recognizes his war is expanding, getting more complex.
But he doesn't back down.
No. He believes he can still make a difference. He wants to remind them that not every man had a price, that principle and dedication and audacity and guts were still alive in the human race. It's almost an existential stand for him.
So the final target is Sir Edward Stewart's mansion in Haiti.
Near Port-au-Prince, yeah. Bolan plans an attack at dawn. He chooses that time specifically, the psychological moment, when people who've been up all night hit that low point, that inner letdown, a torpor.
Using psychology again.
Always. And Grimaldi's intel, his memory of the layout, is key. Bolan moves with incredible precision, disables communications first.
Takes out the guards.
Swiftly. One guard is yawning and stretching, another is fiddling with the fly of his trousers, a third is just pouring coffee. Bolan exploits their unguarded moments, then bam, pulls the main power disconnect, plunges the whole place into total, choking darkness.
Creating terror before the final confrontation.
Exactly. He then runs into another high-level guy, Big Gus Riapi, who's there overseeing the dismantling and reorganization of the Caribbean carousel, basically, cleaning up after Lavagni's mess.
And Bolan plays mind games with him, too.
Oh, yeah. He drops this subtle hint about maybe Glass Bay's celebrating, implying Lavagni might have somehow won or survived, sowing doubt and confusion in Riapi's mind, distracting him.
And then he confronts the man himself, Sir Edward Stewart.
And the reveal is, quite something. Stewart isn't black. Despite operating in Haiti, he's not Italian mafioso. He looks like, quote, Mr. Plymouth Rock, wassip of the ages.
The picture of respectability.
Completely. A Wall Street image of solid respectability. And Bolan feels this cold rage. This is the particularly revolting new look in the criminal type. The guy who looks clean, but built and perpetuated ghettos, created junkies, destroyed lives, all for the love of the lousy buck.
This is the real enemy.
For Bolan, yes, this is the biggie, the source of the rot, hidden behind a respectable mask.
Does Stewart try to bargain?
Oh, he tries. Tries to dazzle him with his goodliness. Offers Bolan everything: riches beyond imagination, power beyond measure, women.
And Bolan's response?
Chilling. Yeah. Absolutely final. I didn't come here to judge you, Edward. I came to execute you.
And that's it.
That's it. He leaves one of his marksman's medals on Stewart's chest. And just quietly leaves. Mission accomplished.
So that's the deep dive, and we've tracked Mack Bolan, the executioner, right into the heart of the Mafia's Caribbean operations. From that explosive start at Glass Bay, dealing with Quick Tony, the alliance with Evita, right up to taking down the architect, Sir Edward Stewart, in Haiti.
Yeah, and what this really shows you is something profound about power, resistance, and the nature of modern crime. Bolan's whole philosophy, his relentless drive, it's captured in his idea that there's always more to learn, even in vengeance.
He's a reminder that even against these huge, seemingly untouchable, invisible empires like this fourth power, one person's actions can make a wave, however unconventional, however brutal.
Exactly. His defiance matters, even if the war itself seems endless.
And that brings us to a question for you, the listener. There's a line in the source attributed to a poet named Margarita. The world dies twixt every heartbeat and is born again in each new perception of the mind. So thinking about that, what kind of new world are you perceiving and maybe striving to create in your own life?
It's a deep thought. And as we see Bolan fly off, Grimaldi at the controls, knowing as Bolan does that there'll be another one before they can get implanted, well, it leaves us thinking about that endless battle, that fight against what he identified as the fourth power. Maybe sometimes the fight isn't really about winning, but just about the continued act of pushing back, the opposition itself.